okay? Just delay, blocked words. No, we're not doing blocked words. No, no. Hi, how are you? Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? To the two beautiful people in here, and Subi, hello. How are you? It's always so weird when I come in the office and I do a live because it's unusually quiet in here. And it makes me very uncomfortable with how quiet it actually is. I'm okay. I worked at the bar a little bit today. Wayne! Hello, Wayne. I went to the bar for a few hours, like I think it was almost 3 hours, and helped set up for tomorrow. I know I keep talking about it, but it's on the agenda, unfortunately, so. Yes, Martin, I do know that. Lorraine. Peach fuzzy butt, you know. Okay, Subi, I appreciate you. Remember to like and subscribe. So Wayne, I did do what Fools did earlier. So I changed it to the only people who can comment are subscribers, and the other people have a 10-minute hold. So we shall see what happens. And you listened only a few minutes. Yes, Martin, some of the things that are going on in the world, as you know, are really hard to listen to, and it's specifically hard for me to read them. So I kind of take everyone on a journey. We all do it at the same time. So unless it's a bigger case, I may have read over it, but typically, typically I wouldn't read it until I do the live with you guys. So that way, Misfit, how are you? That way we all kind of get the same reaction together. So that's what I've been trying to do. But Martin, I agree with you. And I think if I was to do something like that, I think I'd want to, I don't know if I want to create an entire different channel for that. So I do have a second channel. Thank you for the membership. What are you talking about, the membership? Who are you talking to? Do we have a membership? What's happening? Are you talking about in backyards? Oh, yeah, in backyards. We had a heyday last night, let me tell you. You're very welcome. But I was thinking that I do have a different channel that I only posted one video on, so I don't have content there. But that content was going to be all of the big cases where, you know, you're looking at 45 minutes to an hour on just one case, and these are just kind of news articles. So it's posted in the chat that it's subscriber only. Nice, Wayne. That's awesome. But Martin, I do agree with you. I think that would be a fantastic idea. Sasquatch and Bigfoots instead. Yeah. Well, we are up in the Idaho mountains, so I do have some things that I'd like to test out if and when we are able to be able to go up into the mountains in the dark. I did purchase a thermal camera, so I would love to see if we could catch anything on camera. So that would be interesting. But unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to do a live, and that's simply because we don't get service up there. You got great news today. Let's hear it, Tiff. I want to hear all about your beautiful eye. I'd love to know. You're not going blind. That's fantastic. That is really, really good news because I can't imagine. My grandmother was legally blind and she could see a little bit out of one eye, but she also had diabetes, and that just made it worse. Oh, thank you, Martin. It didn't look beautiful yesterday live stream. I didn't live stream yesterday. Oh, I did last night. I did. But thank you. I feel like I look the same yesterday as I do today, but maybe it's the lighting because it changes everything. So who knows? You remember one film star? I would love to know, Martin, because oh no, no, I'm not as. Thank you, Martin. Who do you think I look like? I'm curious. I'll be seeing blurry for a few weeks. That's great, Tiffany. That is fantastic news. Thank you for the membership. You're welcome, Kate. You are very welcome. You like an angel. Sir, is English your first language? Music time. Thank you, Ariel, for stopping in for a moment. 9. I still see your beautiful face. Thank you, Tiff. So I don't have a lot of people in here. Been looking for you. Now I found you. Hello, Henry. I did change it, as Fool suggested, to subscribers only to see how much of a difference this would make. And as you can see, it's fantastic. So I'd like the moderators to be able to actually listen to stories instead of having to deal with a bunch of nuisance trolls that wants to make comments about my face and other parts. So very, very, very good idea. Thank you for figuring that out because it makes me not feel so uncomfortable. And if you think those comments are derogatory, they are. And as a female hearing those comments, it's even worse. So it's so wonderful. Yes, it is. Kate knows what I'm talking about, and I'm sure Misfit knows as well. Yeah, it is sad. It's sad that as a society, females, and I'm sure males deal with it as well, but that females have to deal with that. So it's just disgusting and not good. Doesn't make you feel good. I always feel like a little girl cornered in the corner, and I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. But anyway, so I think I have enough people in here. We can get this started. We're about 9 minutes in. I always like to wait just to see if anyone else is going to show up. And I know a lot of times, in the times past, that there's always been a bunch of trolls. So sometimes I just, start early. That way, kind of weed them out because most of them don't want to hear the stuff I have to talk about. So Foles has a friend named Nameless. She's got a sister. Hello, Miss Rainey's Peoples. Okay, Foles, quit being silly. So, all right, we are about 10 minutes in, so I will start. So, as you know, I typically go to law and crime, but what I have decided is I found something else, which many of you may know, and if you don't know, Court TV is amazing. And Court TV, what I was trying to do is find court cases that are happening right now. And the Google machine told me Court TV was amazing for that. So if you haven't used the Google can be great and come in handy. So Court TV, let's go back here. So I don't know if anyone has heard about this one. I'm going to start with a bigger case just because it's kind of a day by day trial. It is Melanie Walker Ferris. I don't know if anyone has heard about this one. Wayne, you probably have because you are in Georgia. And this one is Georgia versus uh, Melanie Walker Ferris. And it is the burn pile murder trial. So this is something I hadn't heard of. Obviously, it's on the other side of the U.S., so I was not aware. And maybe Misfit has heard about it because she's also on the East Coast. But again, we don't get a lot of East Coast stuff over here, unless it's ginormous. But I also don't watch the news, and I've tried to keep away from that just with all the political stuff going on. And I'll watch the local stuff. But anyway, so I will start, my friends. A Georgia woman is standing trial on charges she killed her husband and burned his remains on their property. I forgot to do this. Trigger warning, we are going to talk about unaliving, assaults, potential apes, and unfortunately child abuse. Not necessarily all of those things in this particular case, but in the other ones, I will throw out another trigger warning. So, Melanie Walker Ferris is charged with malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, concealing the death of another, and making a false statement in the death of her husband, Gary Ferris, who was a prominent Atlanta area attorney. The couple, who were married for 38 years, lived on a working farm that spanned approximately 10 acres. They lived in the main house together while one of their 4 adult children lived in an apartment above the barn. Okay, so this did happen quite some time ago, so this might be why. On July 5th, 2018, deputies with the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office were called to the property for a report of human remains in a fire. Detectives initially believed Gary could have suffered a medical issue and fallen into the fire, but quickly began investigating the case as a homicide after a bullet was found lodged in one of Gary's rib bones. The bullet, a .38 caliber, did not match any weapon found during searches of the property. Investigators say the Ferris marriage was rocky, and Court TV reviewed documents showing that Gary filed for divorce in February of 2010. The petition was dismissed that August. Melody initially denied having any affairs when asked by investigators, and then later claimed her affair with Roy Rusty Barton ended a year before her husband's death. But investigators determined that was a lie and later arrested her in Tullahoma, Tennessee, where she had been spending time with Barton. Prosecutors say at the time of the murder, the couple had been arguing about finances, specifically Gary's refusal to give Melody money, but instead giving it to their adult children. So because this is Court TV, it does give a kind of a day-by-day trial type thing. Hello, Miss Tammy Lynn. I am reading some crime stuff right now. So it is it's gone 14 days so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go day by day. It's not super long, but it just kind of gives you some insights on what they found and where that's led. So on day 1 of the trial, prosecutor opened for the state by arguing to jurors to shrink their worlds and find that only one person who had the means, motive, and opportunity to kill Gary was his wife. He noted that Melanie liked being married to a rich lawyer. They lived in a mansion worthy of being featured in Southern Living. The two lived in the same house but had separate living quarters. Melanie lived upstairs and Gary lived downstairs, and they cheated on each other over the course of their marriage. Hello. There was constant tension in the relationship because Melanie did not like the way Gary used his money. Gary spent lavishly to support his grown children who appeared to rely on his generosity. Fogus and Gary was shot. Fogus, excuse me, he's the attorney, said Gary was shot and killed, his body placed on a burn pile for his son Scott to find. The prosecutor states that this did not occur because of a break-in or a robbery. The only person in the house at the time was Melanie. Defense attorney Michael Ray opened by suggesting to jurors that too many still unanswered questions should prevent them from finding client guilty of murder. Ray notes police don't know where Gary was shot in the house, how Melanie could have moved her husband, who is 6'3" and over 300 pounds, onto the burn pile, and no murder weapon was recovered from the property. Ray notes that Scott is the only one who possesses a .38 caliber ammunition. The same kind of ammunition that investigators say killed Gary. So that was day one of the trial. Hello. Sorry, I'm reading this and I'm kind of looking over, but I know we don't have a fast chat, so that's kind of nice. So day two, which police investigators arrived to find a smoldering burn pit containing the remains of Gary Ferris. A projectile was located in a rib fragment. Crime scene investigators located what appeared to be reddish-brown stains on a tractor's hydraulic pump, shift lever, and footstep. Touch DNA swabs were collected from 9 points on the tractor: the steering wheel, 3-point hitch lever, power takeoff switch, hand throttle lever, loader control, directional shifter, support handle, the fender, and ignition key. A projectile was found between the ottoman and a rug on the floor in the recreational room. A red shirt with what appeared to be soot was found inside the Ferris home. .38 caliber ammunition was found in a loft apartment above the barn. So that was day two on what they produced to the courts. So day three, Melanie Ferris sent a text message to her friend and neighbor, Terry, stating, "I hope he being Gary, dies alone in a gruesome death." Chief Ricky of the Cherokee County Fire and Emergency Service told jurors the dive team did not locate a gun in the pond on Ferris's property. Christopher Ferris, the couple's oldest son, told jurors that there was no funeral for his father. His mother, Melanie, asks, "Why have a funeral when there's nothing left?" Gary Ferris was believed to be missing after he did not answer his cell phone on July 4th, 2018. Scott Ferris, the couple's second oldest child, found his father's remain in the burn pile. Gary Ferris told his children in 2010 that their mother had gotten a home equity loan on their farm, which led to Gary serving divorce papers to his wife. The couple never divorced and reconciled. In April of 2018, Gary told at least 2 of his children that he thought their mother was trying to poison him. Ferris was rushed to the hospital after eating cookies his wife made for him after an argument. All right, so day 4, again, this is evidence being produced to the jury during this trial. Melody Ferris, second oldest son, Scott Ferris, testified against his mother regarding the death of her husband. Melody Ferris told family members about her son, Christopher Ferris, stealing money and paying for various things. Gary Ferris texted his son, stating, "Your stealing money is out of control." The text was sent a couple of weeks before his passing. Scott Ferris says his father told him to hold on to this, his credit card, Gary's credit card, as if his life depended on it. Jenna, Melanie Ferris's former daughter-in-law, claims Melanie showed her a revolver belonging to her grandfather. The gun was inside a drawer in the basement. The last photo on a deer camera near the burn pile was a picture of Melanie's son, Scott Ferris. All other pictures had been deleted and the SD card inside the camera. On the SD card, inside the camera. Day 5. Scott Ferris, the second oldest son of Gary and Melanie, returns to the witness stand for a full day of testimony, which that's all it says for day 5. Day 6, Melanie Ferris's oldest daughter, Emily, testifies against her mother. Forensic pathologist says Gary Ferris died as a result of a gunshot wound to the torso, and the manner of death was ruled a homicide. Melanie Ferris's DNA was identified on the L2 shifter, on the tractor, and one blue shoe inside the home. Melanie Ferris and her son Scott had their hands swabbed for fire accelerants. Both tests were negative. Luminol revealed possible cleaning streaks near the top of the stairs leading to the home's basement. That was day 6. Day 7. Jurors hear testimony from Melanie Ferris's Wiley says he was unaware that anyone knew. Okay, so she was having an affair with this man named Ted. Says he was unaware that anyone knew about their relationship until after the incident. Gary Ferris kept a log whenever he had one of his spells, according to his legal assistant. The doctors could never find anything wrong with Ferris. Gary Ferris's legal assistant told the jury that she and Ferris had a personal relationship. There's a lot of people doing things you shouldn't be doing. Just get a divorce and move on. That's my suggestion to anyone. Or break up and just go separate ways. Gary Ferris stopped responding to emails after 3:30 p.m. on July 4th. Blood found on a t-shirt inside the home was that of Melanie Ferris. Her defense attorney asked the DNA analyst if she knew that the t-shirt belonged to Ferris and if she would expect to find Ferris's DNA on a shirt that belonged to her, to which she replied, yes. Hoes doing hoe things. That's on both sides, fool, just so you're aware. The bullet round found on the basement floor and the projectile found embedded into one of Gary Ferris's ribs were fired from the same gun. But it's unknown if the two items are the same brand of bullet. Day 8. Jurors hear testimony from Melanie Ferris's other extramarital affair, Rusty Barton. Barton told investigators during an interview on July 24th, 2018, that he spoke with Melanie in the early morning hours of July 4th, to which she told him that Gary was in a burn pile. Barton said he and his attorney tried repeatedly to recant his statement because he felt he was under distress. During a July 8th, 2019 jailhouse call, Melanie asked Rusty to please stop talking and that he would single-handedly hang me, meaning Rusty would hang her if he kept talking about it. Rusty drove Melanie Ferris to a police station in Tennessee so that she could turn herself into police. Rusty's girlfriend in 2017 wrote an email to Gary Ferris that he was having an affair with his wife. A forensic anthropologist said that the fire at the burn pile was ignited once with no liquid accelerants. The fire started 24 hours before his body was ever found. Sharon, a friend of Melanie's, said that Melanie went on a secret trip to Jamaica with Rusty Barton. Melanie mailed her debit card. What? Oh, good grief. Mailed her debit card to Sharon, who was beginning her move in Minnesota, so that she could make a small purchase on her behalf. Gary Ferris thought Melanie was in Minnesota with her friend Sharon. This is a lot of lying and a lot of covering up to do what? Day 9. Melanie Ferris's um, extramarital affair, Rusty, returned to the witness stand to finish direct and for the defense's cross-examination. Barton told the jury he lied about Melanie having said Gary was in the burn pile and tried repeatedly to recant his statement. Barton said none of his guns were missing and that his stepmother, Martha, was not missing any guns neither. Barton's .357 Magnum was confiscated by police for testing, but was determined not to be the murder weapon. Barton was dating another woman in Tennessee while having an affair with Melanie. Miss Melanie thought she was the only side piece, and they're all side piecing each other. So, law enforcement asked Barton to record his telephone conversations with Melanie. Barton told her their cell phone calls were being recorded, then purchased a prepaid cell phone so she would be comfortable that the police weren't recording her conversations. Barton said he was trying to find out whether he killed her husband and burned his body. Hello, Bill. All right, day 10. Rusty Barton's internet searches included, if the police have a cell phone number, can they get all of your text messages? And how police get your text messages. Addison said her grandmother would not allow her to stay the night on the farm on July 3rd, so the day before Mr. Gary was unalived. Addison testified that she did not see her grandfather on the farm when she arrived on the evening of July 4th, but last saw him on the evening of July 3rd. Addison testified that she did not see a fire or smoke coming from the burn pile when she stayed at her grandparents' home on the 4th of July. The Cherokee County Sheriff's Office executed a search warrant for the farm before finding the bullet embedded in Gary Ferris's rib, the bullet in the basement, or blood evidence. Before the bullet was found in the basement, a projectile embedded in Gary's ribs and any blood found in the home. Melanie Ferris's sons, Chris and Scott, talked to the police about a missing gun, a tractor parked in a weird way, and their mother having their father's wallet in her hand. All right, day 11. Melanie Ferris's second cousin, Martha Jane, contacted the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office on October 18th to report her .38 Special snub muzzle revolver was missing from her home. She told the investigator that the police never asked if she was missing any guns in 2018, but after watching Rusty's testimony, she knew that they were talking about the gun that was given to her as a Christmas gift in the late 1970s. Jurors heard jailhouse and recorded phone calls between Melanie and her lover, Rusty. Day 12. Jurors hear audio recordings of Melanie's interview with police in the early stages of the investigation. Day 13. Jurors hear audio recordings between Melanie and Rusty before her arrest. Cherokee County Sheriff's Office asked Rusty to record all phone conversations between the two of them. Prosecutors play Melanie Ferris's police interview on July 6th, 2018. Day 14. So this is, day 14 actually was yesterday in this trial. So Court TV shows me this trial is ongoing. So day 14 of the trial, again, yesterday, jurors visit the former home of Gary and Melanie Ferris. Lead detective said he never considered Chad Ferris or Scott Ferris a suspect in the death of their father, Gary. The barn in Scott Ferris's loft above the barn was never searched for evidence or checked for blood. So therefore, we will never know if they were involved because they didn't do their due diligence. So that is an ongoing case that is happening right now. It's something we should keep our eyes on because I'd really like to know if she did it, which she probably did because she wanted his money and everyone's side piece and everyone, like I was saying. So, yeah, that is the trial of the burn pile murder that's going on right now. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate it. I would like her to learn the property. Sorry, I'm looking at your chat. Hello. All right, so I'm going to go back to what I know, which is law and crime. There is another one that I'm going to cover. We'll do that one last. She had her man do it. Yeah, Larry, I actually think because he's recording the phone calls in jail, I think if he was part of it, I don't think he would be cooperating like that. So I personally think it was more so her, and I think she was hoping her lover would help assist her and help cover for her, but he was like, yeah, no, you're not my only side piece, and I don't really care for you like you think I do, so I'm gonna just not be a part of that. That's my 2 cents on it, but hi Donna. I think that's kind of how what I'm thinking. Yeah, I agree, Wayne. And like they say, most of the time it is the spouse, and it's usually over money or an extramarital affair, which sounds like it's both. So, okay, moving on. I am going to Law and Crime. If none of you have used Law and Crime or have looked at Law and Crime, I highly suggest it if you're into this stuff. It talks about political stuff, it talks about crime stuff, law stuff, big corporation stuff. So a little bit of everything, all in one little place. So this is why I decided to do it every 2 days, because not everything is updated. So it's all about context. Stealing, yeah, it could have been fools, except I believe if none of the kids are in, it was the mother. She would have turned on him by now, I'm sure of it. Okay, so this is not a very, well, it looks like it's not super long, but trigger warning. This may or may not, I don't know how old he is. This could have to do with children, so please be advised. They're not my favorite stories, but as I always mention, it's important to make sure that they're discussed because these things go on around us. It is in the United States, and if you see something, say something. So the title reads, "Do you just want to die?" Mom allegedly intended to discharge handgun to scare her bad kid, but ended up shooting him in the forehead and killing him. A Kansas mom is behind bars after admittedly shooting and killing her son, even though she only intended to scare him with her gun, according to police. Tisha Florence, 46, also known as Tisha Jenkins, stands accused of 1 count each of murder in the 2nd degree, aggravated assault, and aggravated burglary, according to jailhouse records. "I shot my baby," the alleged killer said as she was being arrested earlier this month, according to the Wichita Police Department. On the morning of October 9th, police responded to a shooting at Jenkins' apartment on East Harry Street, according to an affidavit obtained by Law and Crime. The defendant allegedly spent a substantial time recounting the events of that sad day and expressing a huge dulge of sadness herself. Outside, the mom was emotionally distraught and fell to the ground and rolled around in distress. Jenkins went limp and dropped to the ground. Jenkins also asked Officer Morris to just kill her. After asking her again what was going on, she said that she had accidentally shot her baby. Jenkins stated she pointed the gun but did not mean to shoot him, the document reads. Officer Morris asked Jenkins if she was injured as she had blood on her face. Ugh. Hold on. Give me a moment. Ooh, some of these are hard, guys. The fact that I can read ahead before reading it is what gets me, and I wish my brain didn't work like that, but fortunately it does, so my apologies. She had blood on her face because she replied that she had kissed her son. At one point, my goodness, God, I'm a baby. At one point, the defendant allegedly described to her son as a bad kid who was into drugs and who would not go to school. Inside, Robert Florence, 16, was found lying face down on the living room floor, suffering from a lone gunshot wound to his head. Jenkins allegedly told police her son was supposed to be in school on the day in question, but that he decided he did not want to go, so he didn't. Then, when the boy's two older brothers left the apartment, she called her youngest son's school to let them know he wouldn't make it. At home for the day, the teenager allegedly began nagging his mother by calling out "Mama" repeatedly and begging to use her phone, a request she initially refused. Then he allegedly said he was going to see a downstairs neighbor about getting some weed. Later on, her son asked to use the phone again, according to the affidavit. This time, he said he wanted to call one of his brothers to let him ask their father for money. The mother said she denied her son's request. No, excuse me. The mother said she okayed her son's request. After the call, her son began pulling down the curtains and tearing up bits of paper and throwing them on the floor, she said. Jenkins said her son became destructive simply to upset her. Sounds like he might not be fully mentally there if those are his actions. At some point, Jenkins said she laid down on the bed and started texting a friend. Then her son picked up a backpack and removed a 9mm. The affidavit recounts the fatal shooting as follows. Robert made no threats with the gun. It did not point it at Jenkins. Jenkins lunged forward and grabbed the handgun and backpack from her son. Jenkins held the handgun, pointing it towards Robert, and made the statement of, "Do you just want to die?" Jenkins stated, and the handgun went off. And she noticed Robert fall, and that's when she realized she had shot him. During her interview, the mother said she believed the gun was empty, but recalled possibly loading 2 rounds some 2 weeks prior to the fatal shooting. When pressed by detectives, she allegedly said she had racked and slid it back, meaning she chambered around when she took the gun away from her boy. Okay, we all know that taking the gun away, that action obviously does not happen. Jenkins denied intending to kill Robert, but admitted that she may have intended to discharge the handgun with the intent to scare him. Jenkins confirmed that Robert made no threats when holding the handgun, never pointed it at her. He never pointed it in her direction and never said anything, that he was only holding the handgun. The teenager was shot in the forehead. Jenkins's son succumbed to his injuries on October 11th. In a separate portion of the charging document, Jenkins stands accused of forcing her way into her ex-husband's residence and angrily pointing her handgun at him and his 22-year-old girlfriend. This incident allegedly occurred in March. Law enforcement say they learned about the alleged assault and burglary while investigating the fatal shooting. The defendant is currently being held on a $1.2 million bond. Whew, so that was rough. Anyhow, sorry. So sad. Yeah, that hit me in the feel good. Sorry, I could read that sentence before. So, chair is the way. Bring back the necktie. Sorry, I'm going back, just looking to see what everyone was writing. I didn't expect that. See, I told you I don't read these ahead of time. I am not lying when I tell you we're going through it together. She's going to be there a little while. What? Yeah. Well, and the fact that she did a similar thing to her ex-husband, she racked around. What are you expecting? I'm just confused how taking a gun from someone would rack around. It takes some movement to do that. So even I know that. Don't forget. All right, oh gosh, why does it always have to be about the babies? She doesn't know about weapons. I don't even know what a weapon is. A weapon could be my pen right here. Oh, that's a highlighter, so that's not gonna work, but that might be my weapon of choice. Okay. All right, so we are moving on to the next story. All right, this is also about a child, but in the reverse form. So I'll just get to the headline. Trigger warning for those that are new. I don't think anyone's new. I think everyone's been here. So the title reads 15-year-old systematically murdered his family and tried to frame younger brother, but got caught after sister played dead and told the truth. All right, so a 15-year-old boy shot and killed his parents and most of his siblings, and then tried to frame one of the victims as the perpetrator of the murder-suicide, law enforcement officials said in Washington state. The alleged killer's tale, however, unraveled because his 11-year-old sister played dead, later escaped and told investigators the truth about the massacre. The defendant has since been charged with 5 counts of aggravated domestic violence, murder in the first degree, and 1 count of first degree attempted murder with a firearm enhancement in juvenile court. A hearing is in the offing for his case to be moved to adult court. The King County Prosecutor Attorney's Office told Law and Crime. They identified the victims as 43-year-old Mark, Sarah, 42, and their children, Catherine, 7, Joshua, 9, and Benjamin, who was 13. The incident occurred during the early morning hours on Monday at a residence on Lake Alice Road in Fall City, a suburb of Seattle, according to the affidavit of probable cause. At around 4:55 a.m., the defendant himself made a 911 call and reported his 13-year-old brother had shot and killed their whole family and committed suicide too, because he had been caught looking at pornography the night before and that he was about to get in a lot of trouble, according to the charging document. See, don't look at dirty things on the internet or you might get yourself in trouble. A few minutes later, a neighbor also called 911. The next version of the story was vastly different. The neighbor told dispatchers the girls came to their home after she pretended to be dead and that their 15-year-old brother was the shooter. The sheriff's office deputy Aaron Thompson wrote, the girl said she and her sister woke up to the sound of gunshots and screaming, according to the charging document. Then her little sister left the bottom bunk of their shared bed to go see what was going on and found their father dead in the hallway. Then the older girl saw the younger girl fall to the ground as a shot rang out. The 11-year-old said she saw her 15-year-old brother's face before she was shot once or twice. After that, the survivor said she played dead until her brother walked away. She also said she saw the killer checking their families' necks to make sure they were dead. In an interview with investigators, the girl said her brother had recently gotten into trouble for failing tests at school, according to the affidavit. The murder weapon was a handgun that belonged to her father, the girl added. saying that only her oldest brother amongst the siblings knew the code to the lockbox where the firearm was stored. Law enforcement believe the alleged killer tried to stage the grisly scene of the crime to further incriminate his 13-year-old brother. Investigators found a Glock in the 13-year-old's left hand, which was resting on his chest, according to the affidavit. The 15-year-old suspect systematically murdered his mother, father, 2 brothers and sister, and attempted to murder his other sister. Someone's gonna get in trouble. He then staged the scene prior to the arrival of first responders to make it appear that Benjamin had committed the murders and then killed himself. He then further perpetrated the false staging by repeatedly telling the 911 dispatcher that Benjamin was responsible for killing all their family and then committing suicide. Inside, deputies found the bodies. 4 of the victims had been shot in the head. All of them suffered gunshot wounds. The surviving sister was treated at a Seattle hospital and has since been released. During an initial court appearance on Thursday, defense attorneys convinced a judge not to release the defendant's name due to both his age and the limited information that they had received from the state. Prosecutors convinced the judge to issue a finding of probable cause to sustain the charges and keep the defendant detained. The defendant is said to have no prior criminal history. He is currently being detained in a youth detention facility in Seattle. The defendant is due in court on Friday afternoon, which is today. So, that was written today. So I don't have an update on that. Big, lovely family. Well, and the fact that that poor girl had to see it all, and exactly, she was smart. She was smart to just lay there and play dead. And the sad part is the parents did everything right as far as making sure the younger siblings didn't have access to the gun. I'm sure the 15-year-old was the leader of the pack if the parents ever left, and that's probably why he had the code to the safe in case something happened. So that's awful. Of course he was, Wayne. Of course. You are the man in which everything has happened and all the things are great. I'm trying to remember. Nope, I didn't read this one. Okay, I need to lock up my guns, I guess. I guess it all depends on who has access to them, Larry. That's on you. I would say I won't answer that question at all in any way, shape, or form. I don't know how to answer that without answering for myself. So, all of that to your guns. I don't know any. I'm like, I don't know how to answer that in a yeah. So, all right, friends. I've got another one here from Law and Crime, and then I think once I'm finished with this one, I've got one left for you. So, in a wild twist, parents accused of helping alleged killer daughter buy new mattress from Amazon after her National Guardsman husband learned of affair and was shot in his sleep. Did I read this one? Hold on. I don't think so. Did I read this? Nope, I don't think I did. Covered. Thank you, Wayne. Did I do this? I think I did this. Sorry, guys. I don't want to repeat it. It's updated as of today. Yeah, because didn't I cover this where, I've heard this one. How would you know, fools? You didn't watch my live yesterday or the other day. I would love to hear it. You know what? I'm going to do it again. It is updated today, so if this is a repeat, the information at the end, my apologies, but I'm lost. Me too, Larry. Me too. So, the mother and father of a 41-year-old Utah woman, I remember because Utah, because I rewatch your lives. Well, you don't know about the Amazon mattress, fools. The mother and father of a 41-year-old Utah woman accused of shooting her National Guardsman husband in the head as he slept in bed at home have also been arrested and charged in the connection with the murder case. Did I? Gosh dang it. I should start writing this down so I know what I'm doing. After prosecutors said publicly that they had ordered a new mattress off of Amazon to help replace the one where the victim was killed. Jennifer, who is 71 years old, and Thomas, who is 67, are the father and mother of Rosalie. Are accused of obstructing justice. Sorry, I'm still confused. I don't remember. Okay. Investigators claimed that the evidence shows they helped clean up the crime scene where 51-year-old Matthew Johnson was killed, lied about how long they were at the house, helped buy a new mattress and had it delivered to their home, and even wiped data from a phone. As a lead defendant, Rosalie appeared in court by Zoom earlier this week. The 3rd District Commissioner first mentioned that prosecutors asked for a no-contact order to be issued to protect the defendant and Johnson's 3 children, 11, 7, and 5. When it was Salt Lake County Deputy's District Attorney, that's a mouthful, turned to speak, prosecutors noted that they have already been some obstruction issues. Though not identified as alleged victims in the protective order, there is some concern about the obstruction that has been alleged to have already occurred and involved with the children specifically. They will likely be witnesses in this matter. Rosalie's defense attorney responded that a protective order wasn't necessary because his client is in custody without bail in the first-degree murder case, and any potential contact with her kids would be supervised. The state countered, and the allegations in the probable cause affidavit showed that Rosalie was a threat to the safety and the community more broadly. In addition, there's a risk that allowing contact would open the door to potential tampering with likely witnesses against her. In the end, the judge signed a temporary order barring Rosalie from contacting her children or having someone else get in touch with them for her, whether in person, by phone, or electronically. Authorities have said that Rosalie, who filed for divorce from Johnson in July, reported Johnson missing to the Cottonwood Heights Police Department on September 28th, 1 week after he was allegedly killed. She's accused of admitting what she had done when speaking with an informant, a man with whom she was carrying on an affair. I do remember this one. Johnson was shot while on the mattress inside their master bedroom of their home in Cottonwood Heights. Jennifer also said that to the CI, she had removed the body of Johnson and relocated his remains to a shallow grave in an undisclosed location. Also told the CI that she had been removing items from the home and destroying them to cover up this crime. An affidavit of probable cause reportedly said, adding that there appeared to be a significant amount of cleanup, including bleaching walls and using carpet cleaning supplies. The man told cops that Rosalie came over to his house on September 22nd and told him how her husband had come home on September 20th and yelled at her because he knew that she was sleeping with someone. She allegedly told her lover that the next day, on September 21st, she shot Johnson as he slept in their bed. She told the informant that she put Mr. Johnson's body onto a rooftop storage container, slid him down the stairs of their home, and loaded his body in the back of their minivan. Rosalie allegedly smashed Johnson's phone and ditched his truck in a nearby neighborhood. We did read this. She then drove his body north and buried him in a shallow grave, according to prosecutors. The informant noticed bruises on Rosalie's body. She allegedly told him she got them while burying her husband's body and cleaning the house. The victim's body has yet to be found. It says prior to their Thursday's obstruction arrests, prosecutors had also said that Rosalie's parents were at the crime scene and that their residence was also under investigation. Rosalie's parents allegedly claimed they bought a new mattress on Amazon at their daughter's request and had it delivered to their home, and went over to their daughter's residence for around an hour on September 24th. Prosecutors said that a watchful neighbor contradicted the claim that the visit was short when it was 5 hours long. The witnesses added that the parents were cleaning inside the house. A neighbor told police that on September 24th, she saw the defendant's parents in the defendant's home cleaning. They did not leave the house until 11 p.m. When police confronted the defendant's parents about them being at the home on September 24th, her mother said she was only there for an hour. Meanwhile, Rosalie's father was allegedly aware of the incident that had happened in the bedroom. The defendant's father said he didn't remember details of the day except that he had been at the defendant's house for a short period of time. Detectives confronted the defendant's father about how long he was at the house and if he went into the master bedroom, and he responded, "I did not go in where the incident happened." When investigators searched the parents' home, authorities said they found a green and tan Glock 19 box wrapped in a baby's onesie in a tote bag in a bedroom where he would sleep. The gun wasn't there, but prosecutors believe the box contained the murder weapon. Dun dun dun. So there is that one. Amnesia. Yeah, and then you got nosy neighbors, right? I'm just saying. Neighbors are great, but also sometimes they're not. They're always watching something. All right, so that is that one. And again, I do remember doing that one, but there was the update, so. All right, so we are moving out of law and crime. This one was recommended actually to me last night. So I did a live last evening, and someone in the chat had mentioned this particular case. This is also a case that's going on right now, currently. And it is, let me make sure it's current. Because I've got, let's get out of this. All right. So some of you may have heard of this one. There's been a murder in Savannah. All right, Jed, let me write that down. Savannah, Michael Scott. Georgia? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too, Larry. Jed, is that Savannah, like Savannah, Georgia? You're so happy I'm alive? Of course I'm alive. Why wouldn't I be? Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm like, of course I'm alive. What did you think happened to me? Okay. A timeline of the Karen Reed case and the story behind the high profile Massachusetts murder trial. That was a skit from The Office. Jed, you weren't telling me a story. Shit, ass. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, Michael Scott, duh, hello. Thanks for, doing a little palate cleanser before I read another murder trial. So I appreciate you, Jed. All right, so the high profile Karen Reed murder trial that got underway on April 16th in Dedham, Massachusetts, ended months later in a mistrial due to a hung jury. Hunting, Georgia, how are you? Peach fuzz. Peach fuzzy butt. Okay, my bad. It's fine. Reed is accused of killing her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, with her SUV in 2022. Her defense argues she is a victim of an elaborate cover-up and is being framed by a group of people that includes law enforcement. Her name is Jake, by the way. Awesome, Jake. I will remember that. January 29th, 2022, the night John O'Keefe died. Shortly after midnight, Karen Reed and John O'Keefe and a group of friends went out to the Waterfall Bar and Grill in Canton on the night of January 28th, 2022. According to prosecutors, Reed consumed several alcoholic beverages. Reed drove O'Keefe to the home of Boston police officer Brian Albert. That is where police said people from the bar were meeting back up. 1 a.m. Court documents later revealed that in the weeks before and even the hours leading up to the night out, text messages between Reed and O'Keefe, as well as voicemails, showed a strained relationship. Investigators said that around 1 a.m. on January 29th, Reed allegedly left O'Keefe a voicemail that said, "You are a effing loser, F yourself, and John, I effing hate you." 4 to 5 a.m. At 4:23 a.m., while heavy snow was falling, O'Keefe's niece called Jennifer, Brian Albert's sister-in-law and a friend of O'Keefe's. She said Reed was distraught because O'Keefe had not come home and was not answering his cell phone. According to court documents, McCabe said she heard Reed screaming, "John didn't come home, we had a fight." Around 5 a.m., Reed called another woman whose husband was friends with O'Keefe. Prosecutors alleged that Reed said while they searched, "What if he's dead? What if a plow hit him? I don't remember anything from last night. We drank so much, I don't remember anything." 5:07 a.m. Reed, McCabe, and the third woman went to go look for O'Keefe. Prosecutors said Reed mentioned to the woman that she had a crack in her taillight and wondered if she could have hit O'Keefe. I'll be honest with you, I would never think that in a million years, but at 5:07 a.m., a surveillance camera at O'Keefe's house shows Reed's SUV coming extremely close to O'Keefe's SUV in the driveway. Prosecutors say no taillight pieces were found in the driveway. Reed's defense argues the vehicle did strike the SUV, breaking the taillight and providing an explanation for the damage to the SUV. Around 6 a.m., Reed sees O'Keefe laying in the snow outside Brian Albert's home. An emergency responder said that while hysterical, Reed reportedly says, I hit him. The defense argues that one of the first responding officers from Canton Police gave false and deceptive testimony to the grand jury that would later indict Reed. January 29th. Prosecutors and defense attorneys agree that at some point the morning O'Keefe was killed, someone Googled Hostic, long, Hostic, should be how long, to die in cold. The sides disagree on when the search was made. Prosecutors say the search happened at 6:23 a.m. and 6:24 a.m. after O'Keefe's body was found. The defense says a federal forensic expert determined the search was made at 2:27 a.m. before police were alerted that O'Keefe's body had been found. How did John O'Keefe die? Police say they found a broken cocktail glass and pieces of taillight at the scene. A forensic toxicologist estimated that Reed's blood alcohol content would have been around 0.13 to 0.29, around 12:45 a.m., more than the legal limit. January 31st. An autopsy is completed on O'Keefe. Prosecutors said the medical examiner ruled the cause of death was blunt impact injuries to the head and hypothermia. They say the medical examiner did not find any obvious signs of an altercation or a fight. A few days later, February 2nd, Karen Reed is arrested. Reed appears in district court for the first time, pleading not guilty to manslaughter, motor vehicle homicide, and leaving the scene of a motor vehicle collision causing death. June 10th. Again, this is 2022. A Norfolk County jury indicts Karen Reed on charges of second-degree murder, manslaughter, while operating under the influence of alcohol and leaving the scene of personal injury and death. Reed is arraigned on the new charges in O'Keefe's death. She pled not guilty in Superior Court and was ordered to be held on a $100,000 bail. Reed made bail and has been out on release ever since. May 3rd. Karen Reed's defense claims she was framed. Defense attorneys Alan Jackson and David Yannetti allege that O'Keefe was involved in a fight inside Brian Albert's home. They claim O'Keefe was beaten and his body was later dumped outside. Jackson and Yannetti focused on wounds to O'Keefe's arms, which they said show he was attacked by Albert's dog during the fight. This is not just fishing, Jackson said during the May 3rd hearing. We've got a fish on the hook. We just need the court to help us reel it in. There is no evidence that Mr. O'Keefe was beaten and left for dead, is what the district attorney was arguing about. May 24th. During a pretrial hearing, Reed's attorneys laid out what they alleged to be a cover-up by law enforcement. Certainly the Massachusetts State Police is involved. There are people that were in the house that were involved, Jackson said. Brian Albert is involved. Jennifer McCabe is involved. The rest of the folks that were in that house, there's some level of involvement by every one of them. Every single one of them. We're not going to rest until we get to the bottom of exactly who was behind this cover-up. Not only Karen Reed deserves this, John O'Keefe's family deserves this, and has deserved this from moment one. And that's why we're not going to rest. Following the dramatic hearing, Reed spoke to reporters for the first time. We know who did it. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know, Reed said on the court steps. I tried to save his life. I tried to save his life at 6 a.m. I was covered in his blood. I was the only one trying to save his life. August 1st. Why does it always cry for help? Yeah. August 1st, 2023. Judge Beverly Canone denied a prosecution request for a gag order in the case. The district attorney's office had asked for the gag order, saying witnesses were being harassed. Yannetti countered by saying it was prosecutors who are controlling the narrative. August 25th. District Attorney Michael released a video statement slamming what he described as absolute baseless harassment of witnesses in the case. Conspiracy theories are not evidence. The idea that multiple police departments, EMTs, fire personnel, the medical examiner, and the prosecuting agency are joined in or taken in by a vast conspiracy should be seen for what it is, completely contrary to the evidence and a desperate reattempt to reassign guilt. October 11th. Aiden, the blogger who operates the site Turtle Boy News, was arrested on charges of witness intimidation related to the Karen Reed case. Kearney has been covering the case for months, often recording himself confronting witnesses. His defense attorney told the judge that Kearney was exercising his First Amendment right. December 26, 2023. A judge revoked Kearney's bail amid new assault and battery charges. Kearney allegedly went to his girlfriend's home, demanded to see her phone, then shoved her during a confrontation. Kearney remained in jail for nearly 2 months, but was later released on for personal issues. This is a whole damn mess, I just want to tell you. Evidence under scrutiny. In court filings, prosecutors said they have DNA evidence recovered from a broken taillight that implicates Reed in O'Keefe's death. They said the taillight is the same material from Reed's SUV and that the DNA matched O'Keefe's. They also said broken taillight material was found on O'Keefe's clothing. Reed's defense team said that the federal investigation into the case led to an FBI expert concluding that the evidence does not support the theory that O'Keefe died after being hit by the SUV. The damage on the car was inconsistent with having made contact with John O'Keefe's body. In other words, the car didn't hit him, and he wasn't hit by the car. Jackson said. Prosecutors disagree, accusing Reed's attorney of defensive? Hold on, this damn pop-up. Okay, in a brief statement, Massachusetts State Police said they have opened an internal investigation into a potential violation of department's policy by Trooper Michael Proctor, who was the lead investigator in the case. Police did not say what prompted the investigation, but said he remains on full duty. Reed's defense attorney said the federal investigation showed Proctor hid personal ties to people involved in the case. In a statement, Proctor's attorney, Michael, denied any wrongdoing. The trooper has been fully cooperative in responding to the investigations conducted by the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Massachusetts State Police Internal Affairs Unit. To be clear, Trooper Proctor remains steadfast in the integrity of the work he performed investigating the death of Mr. John O'Keefe, to the extent that Trooper Proctor's personal text messages have been shown in court proceedings regarding Mrs. Reed. He respectfully submits that the objective investigative steps he and members of his units are in no way undermined by the content of the personal messages. This is a lot of mumble jumble, just telling you. Sorry. All right, so April of this year, the jury selection begins. Karen Reed's second-degree murder trial. My gosh. Sorry, these pop-ups keep like popping up and then it scoots the screen. Murder trial began with jury selection. A total of 4 jurors were added on the first day. On the second day, 7 more jurors were added, and on the third day, jury selection wrapped up with a full jury seated. 2 more jurors were added, but 1 from a previous day was excused, bringing the total number of jurors seated so far to 12. Testimony underway. Opening statements and testimony got underway with the first witnesses called. John O'Keefe's brother Paul and his wife Erin were the first 2 on the stand. Canton Police Officer Steve Seraph also began his testimony. Prosecutors showed video from Seraph's dashboard camera as he arrived on scene. A Canton paramedic who treated John O'Keefe the day he died testified that he heard a woman saying, "I hit him, I hit him." Reed's defense team argued that the man's testimony has since changed over time. What happened? All good. What's going on? No M words. Mike, I've been saying it this whole time. No M words. 4 paramedics and firefighters testified about what they heard Reed say the morning O'Keefe's body was found. Jurors heard the 911 calls from the day O'Keefe's body was found. Police who responded to the scene testified as well on the 5th day of testimony. Several Canton police officers testified about their handling of the crime scene. Among them was Sergeant Michael Link, who Reed's defense team argued had personal connections to the home where John O'Keefe's body was found in 2022. There was a pause in trial as Judge Canone heard arguments about whether Aidan Kearney, who publishes as Turtle Boy for his site, should be allowed in the courtroom. He is facing charges of witness intimidation involving involving people in the case. The judge ruled that Kearney must leave the courtroom when certain witnesses take the stand. Also that day, retired Boston police officer Brian Albert took the stand. He owned the home where O'Keefe's body was found. Albert testified that O'Keefe and Reed never entered his home the night of the incident. Where are these cameras? When do people have the doorbell cameras? A woman who was at Brian Albert's Fairview home the night O'Keefe died said she saw a black blob in the lawn as she was leaving. The defense called it a made-up story. A prosecution witness broke down in tears on the stand describing harassment in the case. Colin Albert, who the defense claims could have been involved in a fight that killed I said the wrong word, Mike. Unalived O'Keefe was also called as a witness. He finished his testimony with cross-examination that focused on the defense attorney's claim. Right. All right. Testimony focused on broken taillight pieces that were found at the scene. Several videos were played that prosecutors show Reed drinking numerous cocktails in the hours before O'Keefe died. They also focused on what they say was a broken taillight in Reed's SUV. There has been uncertainty when and how Proctor will testify, as he is listed on the defense's prosecution witness list. Let's see. On June 12th, Proctor did complete intense cross-examination and stepped down from the witness stand during his testimony. Proctor was grilled over a text message he sent about Reed saying, "Hopefully she unalives herself." Testimony focused on Reed's SUV traveling in reverse the night of O'Keefe's death, as well as the time of when Jennifer made the search on Google on how long it would take a person to die in the cold. Prosecutors played angry voicemails that Reed left for O'Keefe not long after. Prosecutors say she hit and unalived him. All right, rest of their case, closing arguments. So let's see. So on day 2 of juror deliberations, it ended without a verdict after about 7 hours. While jurors deliberated, Reed's attorneys questioned the verdict slip, leading to a tense moment with Judge Beverly Canone. Jurors sent a note to the judge, telling her they are deadlocked. The judge responded that she did not believe they had deliberated long enough and asked them to continue trying to reach a verdict. On July 1st, 2024, the jury sent another note to Judge Canone for a second time, telling her that they are unable to reach an anonymous verdict. The jury said they are deeply divided, and Canone asked them to return for one final round of deliberations. Later in the day, a mistrial was declared due to the hung jury. Hours after the mistrial was declared, Massachusetts State Police announced that Trooper Michael Proctor, the lead investigator in the case, had been relieved of duty. In an inclusive interview with the news station, John O'Keefe's brother addressed the mistrial. July 8th, Reed's defense attorneys filed a motion to dismiss for 2 charges. One in the filing, they claimed the jury unanimously agreed that Reed was not guilty on those counts while being deadlocked on a 3rd charge. Massachusetts State Police Trooper Michael Proctor was suspended without pay following a duty hearing. The Union for Massachusetts State Police Troopers responded to the suspension, calling it disappointing. On July 9th, they also announced that Canton police officer Kevin Albert was also put on leave related to Proctor's testimony during the trial. In a new court filing on July 10th, Reed's attorneys say another juror told him there was a unanimous agreement that Reed was not guilty on 2 counts. Prosecutors filed back at the defense attempt to get 2 of the 3 charges against Reed dismissed, saying she consented to the mistrial. An unnamed juror in the case said in a court filing that they fear for their safety. And an anonymous juror tells the news station that the jury did not know how to communicate to the judge that they had unanimously agreed to acquit Reed of the 2 charges. Judge Canone sets a new trial date for January 27th, 2025. The case returned to court for a dismissal hearing as the defense tried to convince the judge to throw out 2 charges against Reed. Judge Canone took arguments under consideration but did not make a ruling. Judge Canone rejects Karen Reed's attempt to get 2 of the charges against her dismissed. She's being paid off, I guarantee you. Reed's attorneys plans to appeal. Let's see. Karen Reed's legal team files an appeal to the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court. Karen Reed's appeal for the 2 charges will be heard by the full panel of Massachusetts Heights Court, but it could delay her trial. September 23rd. Discipline was announced for 2 people connected to the Karen Reed investigation. Canton Police Detective Kevin Albert was suspended without pay for 3 8-hour shifts. An investigation found that the detective, whose brother, Brian Albert, owned the home where John O'Keefe's body was found, behaved in a way that was unbecoming of a police officer and violated department policies about alcohol consumption or possession on the job. Massachusetts State Police announced the same day that a sergeant who was one of the lead investigators in the case forfeited 5 vacation days following an internal affairs investigation. The sergeant was in one of the group chats in which Trooper Michael Proctor sent an inappropriate text message. Jesus. Massachusetts State Police said they spent $258,000 on security for Karen Reed's first trial. Prosecutors seek phone records from Karen Reed's father when her second trial begins. Prosecutors plan to call William Reed as a witness. As of October 18th, Detective Lieutenant Brian Tolley, the subject of an ongoing internal affairs investigation, was transferred out of the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. Tolley testified during Reed's first trial. That is it, my friends. corruption in the police force, in the judicial system, and so it's a hog farm. So, that is that. That is that case. That is what's happening. I don't know about that, but I don't know if that woman is guilty or not. But yeah, that's a rough one. So, go figure. Oh, Donna, go figure what? What's wrong? Thank you, Wayne. Donna, I've been on here for quite some time, but I do appreciate you coming in. And I'm sorry if you missed some of the other stuff. Corruption in a police? Crime to the third degree. Yes. Or crime cubed, whichever way you want to put it. I don't know. So, anyhow, that is your Friday night crime, my lovelies. I apologize for interrupting the stories. Remind me of Malcolm again. No, Wayne, you're fine because I stumbled over my words a whole bunch, a lot more than I expected. And I have not drank today, so I don't know what my issue is. Crime cube. Oh, Red. Hey, Red. Full set. So, thank you, all of you, for coming to join this fantastic little thing that I am attempting to do. I don't know if I like the fact that new people can't comment, because I did set it up for the 10-minute rule, like Fool said suggested, and I think that works well for him. But I think for a smaller channel such as myself, I might change those minutes to 1 instead of, instead of 10, which I know the chat probably enjoyed it a lot better because you were able to speak and not hear all the clatter of someone saying something about my jawline or other parts of me. So, yeah, I think I'll try that again just to see how it works out. But obviously I'd like everyone to enjoy themselves while they're in the chat. So, yeah. So it is Friday. It is almost 8 p.m. here in the beautiful Idaho mountains. So I will not do a crime cast tomorrow. I will be working all day at the bar. So, as you all know, I've said this 1,000 times over, we've got the celebration of life that is happening tomorrow, and it is expected to have lots and lots and lots of people. So I will be tending to that. So I will wait for the crime thing probably for Sunday, just so I can start your week off right. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of things that will happen over the weekend that we can talk about. So yeah, anyhow, I love you all. For some weird reason, I cannot breathe. Hope I'm not getting sick, but for asthma, trolls, yeah, no kidding. Donna, again, I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate all of you coming in, but I know Donna's wanted to come in and she's missed it in the past. So anyhow, I love you all. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you all are safe and warm. Some of you are in the 80s, wherever you're at now. I'm gonna jam now. Okay, bye, Red. See you later. I'm jamming too. Thanks. Or unless you're jamming in the shop, I don't know what that means. But anyway, I love you all. Thank you very much, and I will chat with you all on Sunday. Okay, bye.